Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy, digital platform for IAS mains exam or civil service mains exams. So this is the next part on general studies question paper 2 of the IAS mains exam, and as we have committed, we cover each general studies question paper in 20 days. So we are running in this direction. You may contact us for our answer writing session or the offline classes. We are running offline classes at the Jaipur center only. So you may take help, and generally the IAS exam required a specific approach to clear the exam, and we focus this. Today our topic is the preamble of Indian Constitution. Preamble, also called the introduction and preface of the Indian Constitution. You have already studied or know so many things about the preamble, but here I will discuss only two aspects from where UPSC have asked question in the previous year question paper, and in future this topic may be more expected or important for the point of view of questions. So there are the two aspects. One is amendment to the preamble. What were the disputes regarding the amendment and how it was resolved, settled down, and what is the present position. And second aspect is different kinds of features reflected in preamble. One is there are so many adjective, and second the independent terms. Okay. First of all, the disputes regarding the preamble. It was started just after the execution of Constitution from the 1951. Indian Parliament was determined to amend the preamble, but initially Supreme Court in 1960 Beruwari Union case did not allow the Indian Parliament or Union government for any kinds of amendment in the preamble. So the great intention of the government was immediately stopped, and it was keep quiet from 1960 to 1973. And what was the approach that time? Supreme Court why did not allow the Parliament? Mainly Supreme Court stated that preamble was not a part of Indian Constitution. It was not included in any part of the Constitution. There are 22 parts, and the Indian Constitution mainly allow the Parliament or Union government to amend in any part of the Constitution. That is why beyond the outside of the 22 parts, Supreme Court did not allow the government. In 1973 Keswanand Bharti case, famous case of the Indian political system, Supreme Court reverses earlier decision and now allow the Union government to amend the preamble, and also accepted it is an integral part of the Indian Constitution. And some later decisions of Supreme Court like the DC Bhadwaj 1987, LIC case 1995, Supreme Court again emphasized Parliament, Union government can amend the preamble, and what kind of words they wanted to insert the preamble and what kinds of alteration government is determined. So now we have to understand why the government want to the preamble must be included into the part of constitution, or government was determined to amend the preamble. There were some circumstances till the 1976. First, the emergence of Naxalite movement, also called the Maoist movement, around the 1970, and it was started from the Naxalbari village or region of the West Bengal, and soon it became an important threat to the nation's solidarity and integrity. And next, the aggressive movement or the separatist movement of northeastern Assam, Manipur, Nagaland and Jammu Kashmir, they were also creating threat before the integrity. And some outer factor, external factors like India was involved in the second Indo-Pakistan war in 1971, and it was continued till the national emergency, when government of India through the Indian president proclaimed the national emergency in 1971. Indira Gandhi government also declared the third national emergency in 1975 on the basis of internal disturbance, and there were some disputes created by the China at the international border. In these circumstances, the government realized that India may be disintegrated into the different parts due to the internal or the external factors. So, the solidarity term must be inserted into the preamble, that because this will reflect the high intention of a government to protect the nation's integrity and solidarity. And second was, our constitution maker fixed the aim of union government. India should be a socialist country, but when government of India now emphasize over the privatization and private sector's role was increased and the government sectors was minimized, and the socialist ideology emphasized the maximum resources must be into the hand of union government, but now it was shifted toward the private sector. So, that time so many questions were raised before the Indian government. Are the regulator of the governments or the different bodies are leaving these goals, which were the philosophy of our constitution maker. So, the Indira government wanted to insert the term socialism, and through which she proclaimed and she stated that government of India is binding with the socialist ideology and there is no scope for leaving the term. And third is the secularism. Till the 1970 or the 75, there was a large scale communal rights between the Hindu and Muslims, and there were so many separatist power, they were promoting these kinds of communal problems, and this also created a threat before the Indian solidarity. That is why government also determined to insert the term secularism, and secularism was the national duty of the government. So, this was the scenario, or these were the circumstances in which government was determined to amend the preamble. That is why Supreme Court was convinced by the union government. Finally, in Keshavanand Bharati case, Supreme Court allowed the government. So, now what is the present position? Preamble is a part of Indian constitution, and now parliament, union government can amend any time, but there is a slightly problems now. In 1973, Keshavanand Bharati case, Supreme Court have created a new theory which is called the basic structure theory, and most of the terms are applied in the preamble have been declared as the basic structure. So, government can amend the preamble, but government cannot destroy these terms because these are the part of the basic structure. So, now there is no dispute, it has totally settled down now. This is the one aspect you must study or know this dimension in this way. Second, there are so many features of the preamble. One is some adjective terms are used. For example, we the people of India want to India a sovereign country, socialist country, secular nation and democratic states or the republican states. These are the independent terms. The first, you have to understand or explain these terms, and second, sometimes it is considered these all terms are the adjectives and defines the features of our Indian republican system. India is a republic state, which means the head of the nation, Indian president, is elected indirectly, and this is a ideology of the ancient time. If the head of the state is elected either directly or indirectly, it is called the republican system or Ganatantra. And India is a what kind of republican or Ganatantra? The republican system which has sovereign nature. Sovereign nature, it means the supreme power to make law, to administer country within the geographical territory, and is independent to take decision at the international level and can regulate its independent foreign policy. And what kind of republican? India is a socialist republican. It means it is the philosophy of our constitution makers, and it is the duty of our union government to ensure India as socialist country, which means we have to establish social and economic equality at the different grounds. And India is also a secular republican. It means there is no religious sect has been declared as the nation's duty or the nation's religion, and India is a secular state theoretically and practically, but in the unique form. Government of India provide different facility to all the religions. However, it maintains a quite distance from the all religions or communities. But in case of the disputes, the governments settle down all the disputes among the different cultures or religions. This is a different kinds of secularism in India. Sometimes so many questions have been raised against this kinds of nature of the states. And democratic, India is a democratic republican. The democratic means India have adopted both direct or indirect democracy, and direct democracy emphasize over the participatory democratic nature, and India is running both kind of the democratic systems. So, we have to define these terms in details, and you may take help from this topic from our website Naresh IAS Academy, where I have discussed thoroughly these topics. So, then definitely we have to first accept the our republican system has so many adjective terms like the sovereign republic, socialist republic, secular republic and democratic republic. Or third is, are these terms or adjectives defendable? The UPSC generally wants to your opinion. There are so many threats or challenges in the present time before these adjectives when India is a part of globalization. So, the globalization or the global powers are pressurizing India to compromise with their sovereignty in internal or the external matter. But definitely we must defend our sovereignty. Without sovereignty, there is no scope of the country. In the lack of absence of sovereignty, a country is generally called a dominion states or the slave. So, we definitely must protect or defend our sovereign nature, and socialist nature we definitely must defend, because in India there is a large community, millions of peoples do not have the basic needs or the basic facility to survive their life. And the secular nature, India is the most diversified countries at the religious or cultural grounds. So, definitely we should not try to uniform all the cultures or religions. So, we have to ensure the independent identity of the each cultures or religion. However, we have to merge them to reflect the national integrity too. So, it is also defendable, and the democratic system, there is no chance to again return in the age of monarchies where there was no election, there was no right to vote. So, we have to defend our democratic pattern or the republican system. So, then we must agree definitely these are the defendable, and the other independent terms which have applied in the preamble, just like 5 kinds of liberty and 3 kinds of justice, socio-economic, political, and 2 kinds of equality, equality of office or equality of opportunity. The dignity and opportunity, 2 kinds of equality have mentioned in the preamble, but here these are looking a independent term, but we have to attach or link these terms with the right to equality under the fundamental rights from article 14 to 18, and 5 kinds of liberty, we have to link these liberty with the second fundamental rights, right to liberty from article 19 to 22, and socio-economic or political justice. This is a directive principles of state policy, and we have to link this with the part 4 of constitution, the DPSP. So, we cannot say the what kind of terms have used in the preamble are absolutely independent. They simply defines the natures of philosophy of our constitution maker, and in details they have linked with the each part of the Indian constitution. So, this is the 2 ways or 2 approach to understand the preamble, and now you are able to solve or you are able to answer the questions UPSC have asked in the previous years. Okay, thank you.